Okay, hi. Welcome. Thanks for joining this session today. I'm excited to be here. My name's Florian Lenz, and I'm a creative director at Taikonauten. Taikonauten, we're a digital agency based here in Berlin. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and to talk about something that I personally really like and also which is in the DNA of our agency, future or futures. So let's jump into the topic right away after I just give you a bit of more context. What is Taikonauten and what is it about? So we're an agency, like I said. We're seeing ourselves as a strategic partner for future innovation. Our core is still building products and services, but we always try to enable future-oriented teams to also act user-centric. We have a strong focus right now also on research and development and also launching our first academy. So exciting time for us. And yeah, just of course, I want to just give you quick 20 seconds input of show real stuff. Yeah, we can see it. So we're working with partners like Henkel, Roche Diagnostics, VR Bank, some yeah, some bigger and some smaller companies as well, and have a team here at Berlin with round about 30 people, and been on the market for over 10 years, nearly 15 years at the moment. So this is where I come from. I'm at Taikonauten for 9 years, and today I want to talk with you about one of my favorite topics, the future. And I'm also glad that you joined, and also hi to the remotes here. So thanks for joining this session today. So, and I also see there's a small delay, so I need to keep that in mind. So what is the future? Maybe one of you has an idea. Might this be the future? So flying cars everywhere? I don't know. Or is the future maybe a future without any disease because everything is cured because AI did the mathematics and we found also a cure for everything? Or maybe the future is this year. So something that we saw in movies, or I saw in movies as a kid, and that I would have mentioned, this is the future. Yeah, that it is. Well, I would say maybe it's a bit of all of that, or maybe it's none of them. Because when you think about it, the future is definitely a lot of different things. Future is changing, future is vibrant, future is not predictable in a way, but it is at the end. So a lot of things happening when we talk about the future. And maybe let's focus first more about on what is the future not. So the future is definitely not today. So we're not living in the future. The future is also not tomorrow. It become very critical, but the far away you look, the more future it will get, right? But one important thing is as well that the future is not set in stone. So there is not this this future path that we're all enslaved to go on a journey. It's not set in stone. It's changing all the time, constantly. And most important thing is that future is not singular. So there is not this one only future that we will all experience. And so I would rephrase it also that futures are not singular. So we also need to take in consideration that there are multiple futures and endless possibilities. So let me rephrase it again. I will not talk about the future today, but about the futures. So multiple ones. What do I mean with that? When I use the term futures, it's all about infinite scenarios and infinite possibilities. So when I ask you, for example, what is your idea of the future, and when I ask you, you might have different images of the future, and that's okay because we all have, and nobody knows how the future will form itself in tomorrow, in the day after tomorrow, etc. In 10 years from now. Yeah, it might be a bit theoretical, a bit overwhelming, but on the bottom side, I would say we should help also to shape these futures. And we can do that by being more proactive about it. So challenging yourself and getting more, more into the topic of what might be futures about and what can we do about it. And that's also a big part of considering in product development. How can we do that? Definitely by prototyping them, by prototyping the futures that will help us to make better decisions and to also dive deeper into the topic. When I say prototyping the futures, there are a lot of pros about that. So when you dive deeper into future scenarios, for example, and some futuristic artifacts, you can see definitely some potentials there. So when you explore that, then you can uncover emerging needs maybe before someone of your competitors is doing it. Or there's of course the advantage of being in a sandbox. So you are in a scenario where everything goes and you can try out something without the risk. So you can just also fail and fail even faster than in some other frameworks here to see what might work and what might spark interest. Because one of the most important things is when you talk about the future, when you dig deeper into the futures, when you prototype the futures, then this also sparks new thinking within your team, within stakeholders, etc. Okay, yeah, sounds interesting. I hope so. I hope you're still with me. So, how can we prototype the futures? At Taikonauten, we're using our own framework for doing so. It has multiple steps in it, multiple phases, and I'm happy to show you some of this also with some examples today, where we together will prototype some future scenarios today. So the framework consisting of 5 different phases. We have a first phase. This is a scan phase. We have a second phase. This is about prospecting some futures. In the third phase, we're articulating what we want to have, what we want to see in the futures. We have a fourth phase, that is the challenge phase. So challenging it in a way where we can receive feedback and implement it. And in the end, it's all about experimenting. So it's all about prototyping in a way. And I would like you to hop on with me on that journey throughout the phases and to see what we're doing within that phases, what methodology we're using, and what might be an example for that. When I say this is our framework, of course, we didn't invent every method here. That would be crazy to assume in a way, because there's so many great methodology out there that you can use. And we're utilizing a lot of different methodology that you might be familiar with. I would assume that most of you might heard about design sprint, for example, or design thinking methodology. Design sprint, great framework, 5 days, and you have an idea. This is more product development. But maybe you're also familiar with the term of future foresight. So it's all about getting into future scenarios and stress testing it and see how they behave. Speculative design, also great topic where you're building futuristic and provocative artifacts to trigger something in stakeholders. And we're grabbing some methodology out of all of these 3 and more and combining it into our process, because this process helps us to also produce ideas with clients and also with other professionals. So like I said, let's try it out and have a small disclaimer. So I will show an example which might not be the $1 billion idea. So the next thing, it's not there yet. And this is also what it's not about. This is not about product development, already having a real product at hand at the end, but to have something that you can talk and discuss with decision makers and also within your company. And we see also an example here. So let's assume that we're say there is a startup that tries to develop a digital product, and they are using our framework before going into product development, because they are not sure yet about what the product should be. they have a clear idea of what the scope might be and what challenges they are facing at the moment in the now. They just know that they want to somehow fight social isolation among young adults. Maybe some of you know this is something that is that is increasingly a problem, especially in younger generations. More tech, more remote. The COVID pandemic also was a catalyst for that, etc. So the startup says, okay, we want to build an app with that, but they will not start with that directly going into product development, directly thinking about, okay, what are the challenges and what are the pains and needs we want to solve today, but they want to see, okay, um, what might this our current goal reflect in the futures, and how can we learn from that? So let's jump into the first phase, scanning phase. So what is it about? In the scan phase, it's all about finding tech drivers and major trends, so-called mega trends, and also other shifts in society, technology, and political shifts, for example. So it's all about getting an overview, getting a map of it, and then deciding on and picking some stuff out that is important for us, for our starting point that we set, and to have at the end of the phase that we have a prioritized trends landscape that we want to continue with. We use different methodology here or different tools. One of the examples is, for example, the megatrend map. We dive deeper into that in a moment. We have methods like horizon scanning and trend analysis that just helps to get this, to be a radar, to getting all these major trends and scanning them and prioritizing them. Since this is just a 45-minute talk, I just grabbed some methodologies out there, so we will dive deeper into that. And after that, maybe you have also questions for something that I will not show today. But let me talk about megatrends. So maybe some of you already heard about the term megatrend in a way, or can think about what it is. Megatrends describe basically these major drivers that influencing our society on a longer scale, so 10 years plus. There is the so-called Zukunftsinstitut, maybe some of you know. If not, check it out online. They providing also a great tool here, like the megatrend map, where you see all these currently, I think it's 11 major drivers that are also connected. It looks similar like Berlin or Paris, I don't know, like a U-Bahn map, where you also see some of the sub trends, so macro trends. What are connected trends that are also influenced by major drivers like urbanization, future of work, health, etc. So this is a great starting point when you have absolutely no idea about future topics. Just start with that. Just check, okay, what might be influential trends over there. So let's jump into the demo. Back to our example of the startup that is trying to fight social isolation among adults. We did an analysis. We dig deeper into the megatrend map. We also did some prioritization analysis and conducted other tools, and decided for 3 megatrends that are really heavily influencing that topic. One of them is connectivity, one of them is urbanization, and the other one is health. Okay, I mean, it's about social isolation, so maybe you also get the connection in your head. But what is interesting is also what connecting macro trends are underneath it. So for example, omni-interaction. Omni-interaction means that basically customers can interact with companies or with whomsoever on all touch points all the time. So that is also definitely a shift where technology is, of course, a big factor that comes in place. There's this subtrend of third places, so pop-up scenarios or co-working spaces, even more, that are coming into place, where also people that are moving away from the city or in the city have a space where they can feel community. It's not working right now, but maybe it will in the future. And also digital health, of course. When you think of digital health, there might be a lot of apps or some digital services. But still, we see that there's also an increase of stigmatization of mental health treatments. So people are afraid at the moment to still talk about that they need help in a way, and so on. We could go deeper into that topic and also other trends and why we selected them. Let's just assume for a moment these are the fitting ones, and we will take them with us in the next phase. This is basically our base for the next phase, so our trend map. Let's jump into the second phase, the prospect phase. In this phase, it's all about envisioning multiple futures. So here comes the first time where we really dig deeper and think about, okay, what if scenarios, what could be, etc. So at the end of that phase, we want to have find future challenges and future scenarios we want to focus on, because there are, like we said in the beginning, there are multiple different futures, and we need to decide for on what possible future scenario we want to focus on, because we can't prototype and envision in infinite scenarios. So we need to decide for something. Decide for something that we feel, okay, this is worth getting into. Again, some methodology we're using here. So scenario technique is something from the future foresight bucket, let's say it like this, where we take a deeper peek into this. Other methodology that we like to use within this phase to really pinpoint down that one scenario or multiple ones that we want to focus even more in. When I say scenario technique, this is, like I said, from futurology method, and it's about systematically developing plausible future scenarios. So future scenarios that could happen in a way. There's also, when you go into speculative design, then you can also think about super absurd scenarios that are really not likely to happen. This is also interesting. This is not the focus of today, but usually when you research in future topics, you basically always see this, the future cone, like this cone here. And what is it illustrating, or what is it showing us? The cone is just showing us that when you start today, it's really narrow, it's really clear, but the farther away you go into the future, the more diffuse it becomes. So we don't know how the future will look like. The future could be very predictable in the middle, but it could be also worse. No, not saying that worse, but it could be on a positive side. It could be also on a negative side. We don't know yet. And this is interesting to dig deeper into these futures on that end. And this is what we will also do right now with our use case here. So again, topic is social isolation among young adults. And we see we want to do the scenario technique here. So again, our cone. When you don't know where to start, then it's also, yeah, when you don't know where to start, because there are so many different directions you can go and different scenarios you can pick. The easiest way is always to start with the baseline trend scenario. So that would be something where, if I would ask you, how would you see the future in 10 years from now, with considering that megatrends? Maybe you have a first idea in a way, and maybe that is similar with all of us, and we can say, yeah, we could all agree on that. That is basically this baseline trend line scenario, and that helps. It's just predicting when everything that we see right now is moving in that pace that we are seeing it now. This is what is likely to happen, and this is great too, because it's just reflecting that the today's status quo. But we can also go into different directions. So positive extreme scenarios. Why would we do that? So when you go into that direction and take a look at these positive scenario, it's all about that you want to find maybe some moonshot ideas. So this scenario perspective helps you also, yeah, to go beyond the comfort zone. Maybe, yeah, thinking about what can be some breakthrough opportunities to set maybe also vision for a team. On the other hand, it's also very interesting to go into negative extreme scenarios, because that might help you to also stress test critical assumptions and also yeah, go more into risk management, so that you say, okay, when this happened, are we still what is our service offering, etc. In practice, teams pick yeah, most often two scenarios, for example, or they call it also lenses, where they're taking a peek at the futures. In our example, we take just one because of time. So, but let's jump into 3 scenarios. So one scenario might be that baseline scenario, that hybrid world scenario, where we would assume in 10 years from now, most people split time between home and co-working or office, and other community hubs and digital health apps offer support, but many people still hesitate to yeah, seek help in person in a way. So everything is moving forward like we're experiencing it today. And it's also increasing this social isolation topic because of more technology, etc. When we take a look at all of these scenarios, we can find also challenges within these scenarios. So one of the biggest challenges might be the topic of hidden loneliness, because when we're facing more remote work in a way, but also sometimes office, office time, etc., or meeting friends also online and offline, people that are socializing in a good way, they are the winners. They can still go on, but we don't have that safety net for people that are not good at socializing, and maybe they are going overboard. So taking a look at the positive extreme scenario of our futures here. So maybe we have a future where working remotely and on-site has blended together. So everything is also gamified, and mental health app platforms are really just, everyone is using it. So everyone is trying to optimize themselves and seeing how they can fight their mental health problems. This is great because also these tools monitoring loneliness, and then they are offering support or offering a space where people can meet. Wait, that sounds, at first hand, I would say, okay, yeah, sounds good. Why not? That all the problems are solved. No, not all the problems, because also in these positive extreme scenarios, there might be other challenges that we need to solve at the moment. So in that scenario, that would be human disconnect. Because of all that connectivity and all that technology, in a way, people losing or people might ignore face-to-face interaction, because everything is filtered through a comforting digital interface. So they are lacking of that human interaction, and they are fearing social gatherings like this scenario here, for example. Maybe in 10 years, no one is sitting here. So we don't know. When we go into negative extreme scenario, let's wrap it up quickly. There's a future where it's fully remote, no more casual office chats, no more co-working hangouts. Social apps become echo chambers, so that you only see what is within your bubble. Well, that's maybe already today. You can decide on your own. But this fosters also that isolation even more. So that might be not a far-fetched, but the main challenge here is definitely that deepening isolation. So it gets even worse. We could say, okay, we jump in all of these scenarios, and we'll go further for today's purpose. Let's take a look at the positive extreme scenario. and focus on that challenge of the human disconnect. So people are afraid of interacting with other people in the future. That might be a good starting point, because this has a strong connection to that social isolation also from young adults. So we will take that with us in the next. We're now in the articulate phase. So the third phase, and it's all about, like it said, articulating your idea. So in this phase, here comes the ideation magic in place. So you run ideation sprints, you're doing some crazy methodology to come up with great ideas. And the outcome should be a solution sketch for the idea so that people can experience it. Because this is kind of important that that you can communicate your idea, that others can experience in it. What it means, we will also see in a couple of minutes. Methodology here, for example, you might see a lot of things that might be familiar if you know design sprint. For example, here Crazy 8 is a great method, brain dumping, solution sketching, etc. Socratic ideation, we will jump into the example. If you don't know it, it's also really nice. And there are a lot more ideation techniques, of course, to really generate the ideas. And let's be honest, in the age of artificial intelligence, this could also help you a lot in creating fast ideas and then having more to sort out and to pinpoint down the great idea you have. Crazy 8, if you're not familiar with that method, here's an example of a prototyping the futures workshop we did at a WATS conference last year. We did this one analog. So right now we're also doing it on-site and fully remote, but this one was on-site, and it's just a method where you have 8 minutes to produce 8 ideas. And this is always super powerful, such methods, to combining it with these fast-paced ideation techniques, and then again thinking really long about an idea. But the ultimate goal is always to have a sketched out solution sketch, that you have really an idea that could be like you can see here in the pictures, a user flow, for example, or a story that is told. So something that really tells a story about that idea, and hopefully also solving your future challenge, because this is the goal, right? We want to have a solution that solves that future challenge here. So jumping back to our example here, the human disconnect. So this is our future challenge we want to solve. I was talking about Socratic ideation. So the Socratic questions or questioning is a great method. I would encourage every one of you using it also when you're working, for example, with AI assistants like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatsoever. This will produce a lot of questions for yourself to answer that, and that helps a lot with ideation. So when I, for example, asked about this or get into ideation about this this topic here, I get confronted with a lot different question. One of the question I just want to pick out because I've found it very interesting: if tech solves loneliness, does that change what it means to be a friend? So for me, at least, that was something like, okay, yeah, interesting. So, and you can go on and on and on to really also trigger your ideation and jumping into the next Crazy 8 round, for example, and sketching out ideas. So this process and this phase can also take as long as you want. It should not take too long, but right now, especially with this AI tools, it can get really spicy. One possible idea could be, for example, to solving our human disconnect problem in terms of social isolation among adults. Pocket sizable parklets. So maybe a drone delivers just an inflatable pop-up space to a street corner, and then you can meet there with your neighbors or strangers for 2 hours, and then it's gone again, and then it puts your space up again on another street corner. Yeah, maybe, why not? Could help with the problem. Another idea would be virtual campfire circles. So if everyone is still so connected with technology and everyone is at home or maybe outside, and you're fearing of meeting other people in real life, maybe try to go back to nature, but in a virtual way, and sit at a campfire at your home. Yeah, why not? Could work. Sounds interesting. Another idea solution sketch for our problem would be the anxiety simulation pod. So you go into this exposure chambers, and then you practice social situations like a coffee talk, like a business meeting, like a networking situation at a conference. You really feel cozy with all AI assisted guidance and whatsoever. And once you become less afraid of people, the AI shifts, and then you're ready to go out again into the world and talk to real people. I would say for our for our test scenario, let's just pick this idea. Find it kind of funny. Also the idea, the fear of people, and it's still there. So maybe that would help. Let's just pick it and let's go to the next phase. Again, like I said, it's not the $1 billion idea, so you can have it if you want to build it. So yeah. Okay, let's jump into the fourth phase. The fourth phase is about challenging. So it's all about pitching your idea and testing your idea out with expert interviews and stress testing it. So because you want to have feedback, everyone wants to have feedback, and everyone loves feedback. Yeah, I know. So because in the end you want to have a refined social sketch, so solution sketch. So you want to have a refined idea, a better version of the previous idea that you have in the beginning. How could you do that? Of course, you can do expert interviews. You can have peer reviews. You can have synthetic research as well. Maybe some of you is missing something, user research. Why is that so? Okay, spoiler, when you prototype the futures, sometimes you can't ask the user because some of them are not even born yet. And this is maybe one of the biggest differences between product development, where you conduct a lot of user research in order to really pinpoint down the product. Here, in that future scenarios, you need to talk to experts. You need to get the ideas or the feedback from somewhere else. So you can conduct interviews with experts in their domain. So maybe we can talk with mental health experts, etc. If that's not the case, then of course we can use synthetic research. What I mean with that is we have also trained models where we can ask different experts in different fields, and for that purpose, it's also okay. We all know it's simulated somehow. We all know it's based on a lot of knowledge and a lot of data here, but that helps a lot in ideating and getting a start point there. Anyway, if you're conducting real expert interviews or synthetic interviews, you will receive feedback for your solution, and this is what you. So let's challenge our idea, and let's say hi to Nicholas. Hi, Nicholas. This is our synthetic expert. And he is surprised. He researches mental health among young adults. What a coincidence. So let's just ask him here what he thinks about our solution sketch. Yeah, so I pitched him the idea, and he says, yeah, great, but maybe think about 3 things that you should consider. So he suggests that after each VR session, there should be a quick debrief with a peer or with an AI coach, because this is how you learn also, right? You want to check in, how well did I do that? What can I improve, etc. Said, yeah, okay, why not, Nicholas? That's a good idea. Valid feedback. There's a term of, yeah, adapting the difficulty level. So maybe you want to have, maybe you want to start low with a less virtual people to interact, and then increasing the difficulty. Yes. But also Nicholas provided negative feedback and says, okay, you want to have a chamber where should it be placed? It's super huge, it's super expensive, nobody will use it. No, that's a no. That's not accessible. And yeah, okay, maybe we can change that definitely. So making it more more easy to handle and more cheap. So let's rework the solution sketch and say bye to the anxiety simulation pod and say hi to the social sphere. So maybe we put everything in a helmet or something like that. Then we still have that moment of feeling enclosed in the chamber, but just with your head, and it's portable and it's much cheaper. And yeah, maybe that's something. You can practice it at home, social situations, with maybe also real life playbacks where you can see, okay, that situation I would have handled differently, and instant personal debriefs. Okay, yeah, why not? You see also here, I mean, telling an AI to build a picture for that, and you instantly see, okay, that might look like that. Also, game changer. We couldn't do it for 3 years ago. Coming to the last phase and also to the last minutes of the talk, the experiment phase. So now it's about bringing that concepts to life. So we want to prototype something because we want to make a tangible experience for others, so that we can also communicate about it and make decisions with stakeholders, maybe with other people. So where are we aiming at? Is this something that we want to put on our list? A lot of different things we can do here. One of them is definitely rapid prototyping. But when we talk about rapid prototyping, you must think of a prototype that enabled us to experience ideas. So a prototype can be anything. And that's also the power of rapid prototyping. It could be a story, it could be a movie, it could be a clickable prototype, a click dummy, etc. Everything that will help you to make people experiencing it. Of course, in the age of AI, there are a lot of prototyping, AI-infused prototyping tools at the moment. So here, just 6 of them at the moment, because there's a new AI tool every day. I stopped counting at the moment. They all look the same, which is also great because then you can try out all of them, and they basically work pretty similar. So if you have never tried it out, I really encourage you to do so. If you have tried it out, then you know what I'm talking about. So how can we prototype our social sphere? I mean, I spoiled it already, so we definitely want to build more of a click dummy. But you could also say, okay, in these future scenarios, I build a physical prototype to maybe test how the helmet is working in a way. That could be something. Or you can do a movie here for cinematic storytelling. But definitely, we want to focus on that usability and interaction topic, right? So I didn't draw this. The AI draw this, but based on my input. So we have created here a small user flow of how that interaction might be when you put on the helmet. So you have a helmet calibration, then you're selecting a scenario you want to do, then you're experiencing it with monitoring your heartbeat, and then you get the debrief. So just the easy, straightforward click flow that we are able to prototype. And this is just a screenshot of a not a prompt, but a description that I could use for putting it into many of these different prototyping tools. I picked 4 of them here. Figma Make is in the beta, Firebase Studio Lovable, and V0, and all got the same prompt. They were working between 2 and 4 minutes. Firebase had a hiccup. I don't know why. Most of them use similar modules, some of them not. And after a couple of minutes, you have the first clickable prototype, which is kind of interesting also because my not so long prompt briefing was very precise, I would say. I was also a bit underwhelmed because everything looks the same, but it's on the other hand, it's so nice to have something something clickable that is working, that you can move with it, and that you can really experience. And with some time into it, so I prompted some more images and refined one of the prototypes I created this year. So just um, yeah, just iterated on it again. You can see now, like we saw in the user flow, you can choose a scenario. You can yeah, let's choose a network event because we're at the conference, right? You can choose the difficulty level. Then you can experience in here. That would be, of course, a moving scenery. Yes, I only had 30 minutes to prototype it. People were talking, you go to it. You get the idea. So what we speed run through were these 5 phases of future prototyping, starting with scanning the landscape, prospecting some future scenarios, trying to ideate it and bring it to life, challenge it with an expert, and then prototype it to make it really tangible and experienceable. We usually doing that also with big clients here. Also parts of it, for example, we did here really nice horizon scanning workshops and prototyping workshops with Roche Diagnostics, and also some other stuff that we did with Henkel. We also do this with in academic situations, so a lot with students. Is a great format to do with students as well here. And we're also happy that we are now conducting remote courses for solopreneurs. So if you're a solopreneur, then you can also contact me after that, where we have a 4-day course and really having more details and more methodology and canvases and so on to do that on your own. Because I would really encourage you to start prototyping the futures, because that will help every one of us to shape our tomorrow together. So thanks for your time, and I would say we're open for Q&A. Thanks. Does somebody has a question? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, it's strongly based on how our society, or how most of the people in our society thinking about it. When you would talk to people 30 years ago, I think most of them would have also had in mind that flying car thing. That we say, okay, in 30 years from now, we will have flying cars. And a lot of people would have agreed to that because everything was logical or plausible that this might happen. This didn't happen, and this is why a future is not predictable. But at that time, at today's time, that would be something a lot of people would have said. I would also say that plausible would be that, of course, we will increase more remote and more blending online and offline together. But I don't know, because there are so many factors that take into place, and that's why there are also these mega trends and different drivers where we try to anticipate different of these futures. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
those who can articulate what they're thinking and kind of give you the input you're looking for, and are as close to those futures as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, you have people who are of a higher age who have seen more shifts happening during
Mm-hmm.
their age, potentially, quote, being able to extract a little bit further than someone who has a very short experience time of life. Is that something you take into account in those situations, or does it make a difference that we have based on that?
I try to rephrase the question for the remoters. No, all good, because they can't hear what you say. So the question was, who are we taking into account in this process when we want to talk to future users, etc. I would phrase it like this, and maybe there comes in place. Even if we say we want to prototype something for an older group that might already exist at the moment, but they're still not in that headspace. So when we prototype a scenario in 20 years, these people now that were still living in 20 years, they can't experience in that. And that's why it's so important to have that expert interviews, because these experts can give you more feedback regarding the shift and regarding society. So on a broader scale, and not having really these users, because you can't talk to real users and to real people. What you can do now with AI, of course, is putting everything in and building synthetic users somehow to get a grasp, to get an idea. This is not the truth, as we know, but it helps a lot to bringing them into that scenario, so that that we can simulate how they are interacting with it or how they are feeling about it. Would that solve a bit your question? Exactly. Yeah. 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 Thanks. I think remote. There's no question. Does somebody still have a question or not? Okay. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed the talk. So please rate it with 5 stars. I don't know. I think I needed to show you this here. I don't know. So we can talk in the coffee break about the future or Thai cooking. I don't know. It's up to you. And yeah, thanks. So you can also check out our website under that link if you like. And yeah, let's conclude it. Thanks for joining.